guy who got a pig's heart. And I thought that we've been doing this for a while. I guess I must not be keeping a very close eye on this kind of stuff, but they're touting it as this huge quantum leap forward for medical treatment, that they've successfully put an animal heart into a human. This guy got a genetically modified pig's heart put into him.
GMOs.
Come on, grow up.
But also, isn't this a little premature? I mean, let's talk to the guy in 10 years.
Well, I think a friend of mine, I think, had like a valve replaced with a pig's valve.
They've been doing that for a while,
yeah.
but this is the whole heart.
Yeah, he's the first one.
Yeah. A dying man has become the first patient in the world to get a heart transplant from a genetically modified pig. He underwent a 9-hour experimental procedure. This is at the University of Maryland in Baltimore. And they used a heart taken from a pig that had undergone gene editing to make it less likely that his body would reject the organ. So I guess maybe that's what they were concerned with, because my thought was, okay, they put this in him, and that's great news, whatever, but if his body does reject it, you know, people that they've tried, and I'm sure it's much more complex when they started giving people face transplants. There's a hell of a lot more going on there than a heart transplant. But there were people where, like, the face, their body would reject the face.
Melts off.
Yeah, or it's just not, you know. So this is a big deal for people who keep an eye on these things. And I guess for any of us, this guy's 57, for any of us who down the road might need to avail ourselves of some other animal's organs. They said the guy is breathing on his own. He's connected to a machine that helps his new heart pump blood around the body, but it's too soon to know if his body will fully accept the organ.
What pig-like qualities does he get with the heart?
He's got a curly thing now.
Curly tail.
Yeah.
Well, it's not its
curly
tail.
wiener.
Yeah, got a tail, so it goes that way.
Like mud baths?
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, God. It's a pig man! A pig man! Hey, I just saw a pig man. A pig man! You know, he was sleeping, and then he woke up and he looked at me, and he made this horrible sound, this...
Hey, but what the hell are you talking about?
I'm talking about a pig man. I walked into the wrong room, and there he was.
A pig man.
A pig man. Half pig, half man.
Mm-hmm. Half pig, half man.
Kind of look like a pig.
So this guy's not half pig and half man, but...
He's just pig-hearted.
Yeah, it's do you remember a movie? I remember going on a date to see this movie called Untamed Heart. Does anybody remember that movie?
No.
It was Marissa Tomei, right after My Cousin Vinny. She was hot. And so they were letting her do whatever she wanted to do. And she makes this movie called Untamed Heart with Christian Slater. She's a waitress in this dead-end job. He's a dishwasher. And these guys follow her out one night as she's walking home from work. And they try to rape her or something. Christian Slater comes through. She never really paid the guy much mind because he's quiet and he's weird.
Keeps to himself.
Beats the piss out of these guys. They start whatever. He's really reticent because he had a baboon heart put in his body. But you find out later on that that's just what the nuns at the orphanage told him to make him feel special. But he grows up thinking
That's why they're making him feel special?
Yes.
Oh, you got a baboon heart. You're not like those other kids. You got a monkey heart.
You got monkey parts, son!
That's why you poop in your hand and throw it.
That's right. That's why you eat bananas the wrong way. But that's like kind of the subtext of the movie. And then, spoiler alert, you know, they fall in love, but it goes south. But I just remember being on a date and watching this movie and really figured out how, and I was totally horny for Marissa Tomei in the early 90s. Even now.
Wasn't? She's still so hot.
Oh, my
She's
God.
real hot,
She's
yeah.
Aunt May.
Yeah.
Oh.
I just sent you a scene from that movie. I didn't
From
see the
Untamed
movie.
Heart?
Yeah, it's a very classic scene where it has to do with his baboon heart.
Oh, it'll be like reliving it
Yeah.
a little bit. I haven't seen this movie in a long time.
Bart, what's wrong? My baboon heart. Buddy, Rejecting it.
Yes, Christian Slater in an award-winning role there.
He should have. He should have gotten an Oscar
Yep.
for that.
But I just remembered the girl I was on a date with. She was sobbing at this movie. Because at the end of the movie, they go to like Marissa Tomei's like they fall in love, and she's trying to show him a good time, and he's really opening up. And they go to it was set in Minnesota, so they go to like a hockey game. What was it the Wild, the Minnesota Wild? Was
Yes,
that
it is.
I mean, that's
Back
what they
then,
are now,
though,
but I think back then it
North
was the
Stars?
North Stars.
Yeah, Minnesota North Stars, I think. And the guy, slow mo, Christian Slater catches a puck.
Oh, wow.
And then on the way home, he falls asleep, and they get to the house, and she leans over, and his heart has failed, and he is dead. And
that's how it ends.
And
Man,
she
girls love movies like that.
and
Like,
she,
don't.
my kids would like all the like.
But we
Fault
didn't
in Our
know that
Stars
Darn.
and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, I hate
I want
those
a
movies.
happy ending 100% of the
they're
time.
all Romeo and Juliet ripoffs, but I
Yeah.
mean, in some way. But like again, we didn't know that's how it was going to end. You know, now you can Wikipedia a movie and it'll tell
Yeah.
you what's going to go on with it.
That's fun to do.
But you know,
Does he die at the end?
No, thank you.
does he die at the? A lot of people do that. The Wikipedia movie. Go, do I want to watch this? I was reading an article on this. They're like people Wikipedia movies to see if they want to watch it. They'll look at the synopsis and go,
You know what they could do instead?
watch the movie.
Read a review.
But what if they don't?
Critics.
But what if they don't want the bias of a review? They just want to know what happens.
You pick an unbiased film critic.
No such thing.
You
to
don't know
find
that.
out what happened. Well, I've done this with
Plot summary?
I did this with what's it called? That summertime or whatever it's called.
Midsummer.
Midsummer, yeah, not summertime.
In the summertime.
Yeah,
Can you
Will
sing me a
Smith.
song?
Nowhere to be seen in that movie. But people tell me this movie is so great, and I started it, and I was watching it with a friend, and I'm like, can we
Slow,
just
yeah?
look this up? It's so slow, and I was just like, let's just see how this ends, see what people are freaking out about, and we were at it, and we're like, yeah, okay.
I've done that recently. I started watching 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 Days again, and the episodes are an hour and a half long, and very
So much recap.
so repetitive. There's about probably in the hour and a half there might be 30 to 45 new minutes
Yeah.
in the entire
Why do you
show.
watch it? Isn't that where the fart jar girl came from? 90 Day Fiance?
Probably, but
It is.
It is. It's just interesting to watch. But if you could skip all the recaps, so there have been a few couples that I'll just look them up, and I'm like, did they get married or not? Like, I don't even care.
Right, because there's
to do
some that are
this.
very not interesting, and
Yeah.
there's others that are very. What season are you on?
I'm on season 3, and there's this guy that I feel so bad for. His name's Caesar, and he's a nail technician, and he keeps
Oh, Caesar.
he keeps sending this
Caesar.
girl in Ukraine. So he's working like 60-hour work weeks at this nail salon. He keeps sending his girlfriend, who he's been dating for 5 years and has never met, sending her $800 a month. Sending her $800, and
Man.
every time they're supposed to get together, something happens, and
Yeah.
her flight gets delayed.
And
or
so the
this.
people who are filming this obviously can't be like, bro.
No, they do. Like the one producer
So it's like
asked,
catfish?
No, the one producer asked him because she sends him videos like, baby, I love you so much. You are my husband, that kind of stuff. And the producer was like, does she ever use your name? And he goes, no, that's our nickname for each other is baby. He goes,
That's our special
Yeah.
nickname.
and they're like, do you think she's sending this video to other people? And you can tell that thought never crossed his
The
mind.
color just drains from his
Right.
face.
And I feel he's such a sweet guy. And the thing that makes me feel bad
So
about
many lonely people.
they just
Yeah.
want love. That's all these people want. And I'm
They
like,
want a
bro.
connection, and
Those people make me sick.
It makes me sad. Wait,
It
which
makes you
people?
sick.
Wait. The Americans wanting love or the people stealing the money make you sick?
Well, I can't blame.
Probably a little from column A and a little from column
No,
B. with
I don't
him.
blame the people getting over on suckers because they're suckers and that's what they're there for. The suckers, on the other hand,
Suckers make you sick.
yeah, they make me sick because you
love it.
stop being so weak. Stop coming from someone who has been lonely most of his life. I got my first boyfriend at like 27. I am not crying. I'm not moping. I'm not sending money to some bitch overseas. Some man overseas I'm very aware. It's a gift to be aware, and people like that make me sick because they don't realize how ridiculous they're being. You think that your little 6 maybe body is going to get a supermodel.
I get
And you're
it.
the only person that they're talking to. You're sending money, you're paying bills, and you're thinking that you're the only one that this hot babe, you're the object of that person's eye.
You should watch this show because
No.
You get infuriated.
Yeah, you get worked up and you would have some good content to talk about on your
I
podcast.
talked about it last week on my podcast that they're coming back with a new season of Catfish, and I said I hate shows where you just know that.
But these are
they're
not
made
people
for making money.
ground level. I'm 100% with Cody, but these are not people who are operating rationally. These are
And-
people.
No, they're suckers.
If
They're
he,
traumatized.
but he is consenting to give her $800.
He's doing it on his own volition.
She's not stealing it from him.
Yes.
She didn't hack his bank account.
Right.
If this is what keeps this guy from shooting up a Walmart, I'm all for
But
it.
here's the other
I'm
thing,
all
Cody.
for
How
it.
is that an excuse?
that you're not taking into consideration. You are a good-looking dude who has hooked up with people throughout your life. Just because you haven't had a relationship until you're 26, a lot of these people have struggled vastly to
I
find
struggle with
any kind of
insecurities,
anything.
too.
No,
Not
like they're
insecurities,
not,
being a
they're
stone
not very
cold uggo.
attractive. Yes,
Yeah.
they haven't had a lot of
Zero social
experience.
skills.
They've never had any type of romantic relationship, so they don't know any
Man,
better.
I don't know if I can give that I can't give that a pass.
Are you to the season where with the mom?
No.
Okay, so there's a season coming up.
These are people
where-
being willfully ignorant.
Yeah.
And I
Deep
agree.
down,
I
they
agree.
know.
and that's
I
why I don't
agree.
feel bad for you.
And her husband passed away,
Oh.
and so she's on the dating scene. She gets catfished by this dude that says he's in England, and then her kids are showing her how he's using fake emails. He's using they're locating his phone number in somewhere in Africa, and she's being scammed. And she just doesn't want to believe it.
It's like having a QAnon parent,
Yeah.
and
They
you're
don't
trying
wanna
to tell
believe
them,
it.
guess what? This is all nonsense. And,
Well, there's another girl in this season who's 19. She's from Columbus, Ohio.
Yep.
And
That girl blows my mind.
she's 19 years old, converted to Islam, and is moving to Syria in the middle of an active civil war to be with her fiance.
now that's low.
And they're like, she's like, and everyone is like, do you know how they treat women in Syria? There's a
And she's
literal.
like, I'm a fan of it.
Yeah, she's like, I think you guys are just thinking way too into it. Like, you're just really worrying. And her mom's
And I
like,
want
they
that-
kill women for having their arms out.
I
To the
want her
point
to go.
Where she can't actually move to the country that he lives in because
Because Syria's
It's
it's a
closed
literal
off, yeah.
active war zone. So they had to go meet in Lebanon.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
these people are, and she's young, so I guess you can kind of give a little bit of leeway there.
Nope, go.
At 19, you don't know anything. You don't know what you're doing at 19.
I want her to enjoy herself.
Damn.
Listen, not everybody is a dummy at 19. Okay, you might not have the world up by a string, but not this notion that if you're under the age of 25, you're a moron and everything. There are plenty
no
of
life
people.
experience.
There are, nevertheless, you're still a person who exists in the world.
Join the
People
military.
have never had more access to information
I
than they
agree.
have right now. So whatever you lack in life experience, you at least can make up for in information. And so this notion that because you're 19, you're a moron just isn't the case. Now, it's like this woman a few years ago who was British, and she wanted to join Al-Qaeda because of her boyfriend or something. And then she gets over there and she goes, oh my God, just like you said.
Yeah, it's like,
and
what did
then
you
she
think
wanted
was
to go
happening?
She wanted to go back, and England's like, nah.
Well, that's what her American parents were saying. We're like, what is your exit plan? Like, your plan is to go over here and marry him and have this happy life. What happens if it doesn't work out? And she's just like, oh, it's going to work out.
I just can't
100%.
figure.
There is no exit
Again,
plan.
I say this all the time. I just don't know why people are sleeping on local people. What is with you can't find local?
I don't know. I think it's the allure of someone foreign and mysterious and
Spoiler
the
alert:
build-up.
we got a lot of foreign people in this country.
Yeah.
And taste the city.
You've got your run of the joint, and you never have to leave the United States.
The 19-year-old, yes, but some of these people, like you said, are not very attractive.
Listen, better
They're
them than me.
socially
I
What's the
mean-
name of
weird.
this movie?
It's 90 Day Fiance.
90
It's
Day
a-
Fiance.
yes.
Before the 90 days.
Before the 90 days.
I
is
think
the
that's
one.
the more interesting one, and it's
No,
There's
it just-
some wild stuff on there, and what's the other? Like, she's got the twin sister, and she goes to the guy that's in Darcy. Man, Darcy's a mess.
Is that D apostrophe A-R-C?
No, D-A-R-C-E-Y. She is one who's already been. She's so toxic, and so
She's
is
been
her
with two
ex,
different
and
dudes, and yeah,
she's in love both times before even meeting them, and she
Yeah.
tells them that. But she's like super into plastic surgery and very insecure, and she has a lot of issues.
Poundcake got catfished by Rick Rufus Kroll.
I didn't get catfish.
Hashtag Octothorpe never forget.
My guy was real. He just faked his friend's death. His friend was fake. I didn't.
That's right.
I got news to prove he was real. That's what you do. You get the nudes. You compare the moles. You make sure that that's legit.
What if you don't have moles?
everybody's got moles.
Everybody's
have
got
moles.
moles somewhere.
Everybody's got the same. Every guy has the same mole on his left arm. I saw that on TikTok last night.
Were you looking like?
Yeah,
hold
and
on.
I'm like, and you know what?
I have moles on my left arm.
I have the same. Like they
Where
point
is it?
right here. It's right here. And
I have one.
Yeah.
What mole?
Am I a
It's
man?
just- it's like a mole
Above your
It's like how come
elbow pit.
It's like this is a conspiracy theory about how everybody like they make babies in labs or something because
have a
every
mole
dude's
above
got
my-
the same mole on their forearm right here, and I got
Alan
one.
doesn't have one.
No,
You don't got one?
No.
Oh, you're not
Now, I also
you're
don't
not
have a belly
lab
button.
baby.
Do you have a belly button?
So maybe.
Or maybe you are a lab baby.
What about the chick that lived with a hitman in Colombia? Somebody said. Is that another person on that show?
I'm only 2 seasons in, so they might be.
I don't know about that one.
I'm only 2 seasons
There's
in
like
on the
8
90-minute per episode. 90 minutes an episode?
Dude, it's too much. And that's what I'm saying is that I'll
Yeah, you
start.
really have
time.
to
That's-
skip through it.
That's
And you're
how we
watching this
get-
on Netflix or
That's
what?
when you can
YouTube
10
TV.
second through. Yeah,
Well, and this is when we
it's
were
on Hulu, I think. Too.
we were talking about
Are you okay?
we're talking about looking up the
throat.
endings of movies. And I said that I look up the endings of these relationships because I don't have an hour and a half to find out what happened to you.
Right.
Yeah, you'll skip past the disappointing ones because there are some that are
Are
boring.
you okay over there?
It's like it's some kind of a fuzz.
I
with,
think
like,
you're coming up on the best season where it's the Big Ed who's like this
He's
little
next.
guy.
It's season 4, I think,
Yeah,
or
he's-
season 3.
And then there's another guy in that season who has been giving this lady money. Like they chat on a pay chat site where he has to pay to
talk
chat,
to her.
talk to her, and it's been going on for like 10 years. It's insane.
At least Stripper Scott was getting laid.
That's what I'm saying.
He was getting a return on his
You
investment.
could pay for it. They give out.
Yeah, but he could have a wife.
No, but they give it out. Like you could pay for it. You could get it from the corner market. You could get it wherever you want. You don't have to like buy stuff online from another country.
I do like when it works out, when the two people meet each other and they are like genuinely, wholeheartedly in love. And
Oh,
I'm
that
like,
that does happen?
Yeah, it does. And you're like, oh,
Yeah, and it is kind of sweet.
It is sweet.
Because you're
yeah.
kind of like so skeptical that when you see that they actually do enjoy it, you're like, oh, this is nice. I was hanging out with a girl last week, and we were in an Uber, and she's like, she wasn't born here, so she can do an Eastern European accent pretty well, and she was like, he brings me here to Cleveland. It's much colder than I thought.
Yeah.
And I thought,
Yeah, right.
I thought we were in tropical place. It's not. And I'm like, but I was rolling with it. It's funny. And the Uber driver's like, I love that accent. I'm like, it gets old. Believe me, when she starts yelling. And
Yammering.
I appreciate the commitment to the bit.
Yammering. So 90 Day Fiance Poundcake. That's your homework.
Before the 90s.
Desperate.
Before the 90
Before
days.
the 90 days.
Like just because you're
So
alone,
good.
don't mean you got to be
Wait,
lonely.
so explain this to me. So before the 90 days is the lead up in the 90
we
Day
go.
Fiance. Because
No.
I've heard of all these. I just
Yeah.
never watched them.
90 Day Fiance is when the foreign person comes to America and they have 90 days to get married.
So they do meet.
They're here on
Mm-hmm.
a visa. Before the 90 days is when the American goes to the foreign country to meet them for the first time. So the American goes over to wherever it is, England or
Oh, so-
Nigeria.
So the other person doesn't
Or
always
Brazil.
come
no,
over here.
they don't come over here until they get their
yeah.
K1 visa, which is their visa where they have 90 days to get married.
So this is the only reality show that's dealing with the State Department.
Probably.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, so it's when the Americans go overseas, so they're having crazy culture shock. There's language barriers. They're trying to figure out And they're also meeting this person that they're in love with for the first time, and they're only going for like 2 weeks. So they have to decide if they want to propose in those 2 weeks.
And it isn't always a Ukrainian catfish chick?
No,
a lot of times
it's
they fall
all
in
over
love.
the place.
Really?
It's great.
There's old Southern women that are going to Africa to be with
God.
like a
Angela,
25-year-old. Yeah.
Michael.
She's
like 56, loudmouth hillbilly from Georgia. And in Africa and Nigeria, it's very like male dominant, and you respect your husband and you don't speak up. And she's like, blah, blah, like going off wearing
she's
these,
like a Karen.
And she's huge, wearing these big old sloppy tank tops with her boobs out.
Does the production pay for these trips?
No.
Like,
No.
how do these people have all this money?
They spend
They save
all
up,
of their
yeah.
money
Yes.
to go find their future
But how do they
husband.
make their... Oh, you mean they've saved up over their
Yes.
life?
So they'll save like 10 grand, and that's all the money they've ever had, and then they go to Nigeria for 3 weeks
Suckers.
and spend it on their
That's
significant other.
There's a reason some people are poor.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Well, these are
It's
people that have
crazy.
like decent jobs a lot of times, or they will like the nail
But if you
tech guy,
blow
Caesar,
all your money
but yeah,
on
they
dumb,
blow all
you
their
know.
money because they're
He's working
that lonely.
Yeah.
and
Wow.
it's just it can be very entertaining. It can be very sad. It hits a lot of different chords, and it's
Every
but
single
it's
time
entertaining.
they come back from a commercial, though, they recap what had already happened in that episode. Every commercial. And you're like, if it's a 5-minute segment, 2 minutes of it is a recap. It's very frustrating. So the hour and a half. That's why I look up what happens.
All right. There's something for everybody. Lid for every pot, as it were. Okay, you want to get the last word in, shoot me a text, 35192, and then